You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you.
We're living in a very dangerous time right now, and liberalism has lost their cotton-picking mind.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Nobody ever said anything about resisting Obama. They went at him on legitimate arguments.
I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to exposing fake news, the resistance, and Barack Obama's shadow government undermining American progress. Be a part of the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your all-American hosts, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell.
And good morning. This is the Abolitionist Roundtable of Michigan, and we are on the air, and we are armed and ready with information and maybe a little humor added to the punch. But first of all, I'd like to just say good morning to Dell and you know, we had just a few minutes of conversation this morning, and so it looks like things are going to be pretty rough going here for the next couple of weeks unless people decide that they want to get involved and back this president. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna say good morning to you. I'm gonna see where you want to go with your agenda, and I'm with you on that right there. The deep state is still getting deep. We still getting leaks coming out, but you notice that no matter how much they leak, no matter how much they create these false stories, false news, fake news, the Democrats can't win elections.
No, they can't. But you know what? This is the strategy. I personally believe that you hear like Maxine Waters talk about impeachment of the president. You hear a few other of the people, they don't want to go that far. They allowed Maxine Waters to get out there and push this notion. But they know that they really do not have the information or the smoking gun that could lead to an impeachment. But what they're trying to do is use that as a basis to get people on their side, and I can't for the life of me understand why they can't see that it's not working. But they're going down that path, and you hear just on the news clip this just a minute ago, there was a lady talking about we're going to resist Donald Trump at every move. This to me borders on treason. You know, the reason why I say that, I mean, is they made a big thing about during the election about whether or not people would accept the results of that election, and especially on the Republican side, because the Democrat side just felt automatically that they were going to win that election.
Absolutely, I'm with
so
you
there
on that.
wasn't, but there was some disagreements about Hillary over Bernie Sanders. There was, they wanted to try to get Bernie Sanders a position in the upcoming administration, and so, but like I said, it was just a foregone conclusion that Hillary was going to win that election. So here we go. The Republicans all made a pledge that they would stand by the results of the election. And now we see that there evidently is some Republicans that are not willing to accept the results of that election. And it's showing, because how in the world could Donald Trump win the election as convincingly as he won it in states that nobody ever thought that he would even be competitive in, let alone win, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and on and on. And now we come up and the people on the opposing side of the aisle, the Democrats, have just about all pledged to resist the presidency of Donald Trump at every move. And to me, that borders on something like treason, because what they are doing is unconstitutional to keep putting these one-sided investigations together. And so I'm going to play a tape by Mark Levin where he says what the policy of the Justice Department has written down. Would you play that for us, Derek?
I've taken the time, ladies and gentlemen, to dig into two memoranda. One was written in 1973, and one was written in 2000. The latter one, written October 16, 2000, was written by the Clinton Justice Department, the Office of Legal Counsel, the office that does constitutional analyses for various administrations. And both conclude, and I'm going to read some of it to you so you're informed more than anybody else. Both have concluded that the official policy of the Department of Justice, so this spans 44 years, is that a sitting President of the United States cannot be indicted. Whether I agree with that position or not is quite beside the point. So all this talk about whether Trump personally is under investigation for obstruction of justice, or whether Trump violated the law, it will never go to court. Certainly not while he's President of the United States. If Robert Mueller should seek to indict Donald Trump, a sitting president, in the end, the Supreme Court will throw it out. And day in and day out, and day in and day out, we hear about obstruction of justice, and did he obstruct justice? No, he didn't obstruct justice. He was free to do what he did. But all this constant, endless attempt to criminalize what Trump did.
Okay, I just wanted to establish that that there has to be a collusion between the Justice Department and the administration of the justice in the country, the judges, and the even parts of the legislative branch. In my estimation, in a collusion to bring down a sitting president through investigations and through a smear campaign, because impeachment is a political activity, and you have to get the crowds of people to have enough anger at the president to go through with an impeachment. You saw it with Bill Clinton. You saw it with Richard Nixon. In Nixon's case, they were able to make an enormous amount of pressure on him that this guy was the worst president we ever had, and on and on and on. But there were some things that were done to Richard Nixon in the terms of how they brought about his demise as president, that was strictly through the media. And this is what's going on with this president. The media and the deep state have combined to thwart the administration and the agenda of this president. And all of that is through the political process, because the legal process should not even be in effect. And to prove that, Comey, the investigating officer, did something illegal in order to set up an investigation. He leaked information and admitted it. So what is the difference between Comey leaking his information and, say, Bradley Manning? He leaked his information. What's this lady's name?
Something Reality Winner.
Yeah, Reality Winner. Mm-hmm. She leaked some information. She's going to do some hard time because the prosecution has said, I mean, they're not looking at any leniency. Mm-hmm. And I got the story here, and I may go through it. But the whole thing about it is that this is a long process. And I say this: the American people need to stand up and say, we've had enough of this. And they need to go into action, because it appears to me that key members of the Republican Party have.
Can I point something out? The American people have stand up and said enough of this.
Yeah.
And the only way that they can stand up and say that, now they're not gonna, I don't want them to take to the street, but they've gone to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And they've elected Republican after Republican after Republican. All these special elections, they gave Republicans all these majorities. Mm-hmm. Since 2010, Republicans have swept over 1,000 seats across the country, whether it's, city clerk, whether, mayors, governors, in addition to your representatives and senators. And so they put all that, they've given the Republican Party all that responsibility, and so they have all these majorities, and we still see this stagnation.
And that's why I say that there appears to be collusion between the Democrat Party and key members of the Republican Party to bring down the agenda of this particular president, and possibly collude in bringing down the presidency itself of Donald Trump. And that's why I said that the people have to get involved a little bit more. And I don't necessarily mean, but I mean put some pressure on these key members of Congress. And I say this: let them know that maybe we ought to say, okay, the president has the authority to end these investigations, but he would have even better authority if Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, the leaders of their prospective bodies, legislative bodies, would go to him and meet with him, work out a plan, and say, we need to end these investigations. We need to dismiss Robert Mueller, because Robert Mueller has, in my estimation, joined his investigation with the fired previous FBI director, Robert Comey, James Comey. And so what we have is a witch hunt that has almost deadly implications. It's actually deadly for President Trump's administration, because he can't really get in and take care of business and get a lot done. He's gotten a lot done, but right as of now, with all of the coverage of the media, they can't really get the work done that needs to be done, because their agenda has been thwarted. It has been brought to a standstill almost, because they have done a lot of things and it could be even better. I say that the FBI should be concentrating on the people that have vocally stated these things and have brought people along with them in the opposition to Donald Trump. What I mean by that is this guy that shot the congressional baseball team up, the FBI said that they did not have, he wasn't on their radar. They had no idea what this guy was up to. Now, he was very active on social media. And he actually said some things that should have drawn the attention of the FBI. What were the FBI doing? They were investigating Trump. So this is why I say that the people should put the pressure on Ryan and Mitch McConnell, and tell them, look, we need to put an end to these investigations. If you don't want to put an end to the investigations, well, let's do a fair investigation. Because how do you end up with the winner of the election being investigated for a complaint that was lodged by Hillary Clinton's camp? Yet and still, they didn't cooperate at all with the FBI and Homeland Security with protecting their websites and stuff, because the Russians were able to hack into Hillary Clinton's. Well,
or the DNCs.
Yeah, the DNC.
Now, you notice that the DNC now, what's her name again? She now is retracting.
Debbie Schultz?
Debbie Blabbermouth is now retracting her words and said, "Well, our website was never hacked." Wait a minute. We know that you came out and said it was hacked. Now they're trying to retract and say, and then we never stopped the FBI or any intelligence committee from coming in and investigating our website at all. So, yeah, they in the midst of this, they're rewriting their history, and so the propaganda, Joseph Goebbels propaganda, it just continues.
Well, see, here, the thing about it is, to me, and I said it earlier, that key Republicans seem to be in collusion with the Democrats. If there was any collusion, that how is it that you control the House of Representatives, you control the Senate, the U.S. Senate, and we keep having these investigations, and now Robert Mueller has expanded his role into investigating, there hasn't been any official word, but he's adding many members of Democrat supporters into his investigative staff, and yet and still they, as Mark Levin just got through saying, that there should not be this investigation into whether or not he would have obstructed justice, because the memorandum in the Justice Department says that they recognize the practice, the past practices of the Justice Department, not recognizing that you cannot indict a sitting president. So where is this investigation going? It's going one place only, and that is to remove the accountability of the president himself, to make him vulnerable to impeachment if, for some reason or other, they come out of this investigation and says that he decides that he actually was guilty of obstruction of justice because of what went on between him and Comey, because that's the only level. I mean, and this is normally would be a he said, she said situation. Your word against mine.
That's right.
And so now we got an investigation that's trying to prove one side or the other. To me, that is an illegal investigation, and somebody should work it up to say that Comey set the president up for obstruction of justice, just like he set General Flynn up for a lying to an FBI agent. And that's about it. What they want to do is to say that he lied on his application and did not. It could have been a lie. It could have been a oversight on his part, because the same thing happened with Sessions. Sessions, they said that he lied about meeting with Russians, and the only thing that they could come up with as a meeting was that he was in the same building in his role as a senator. He was in the same building and may have come into contact with the ambassador to Russia. That is what they call lying about his meeting with a Russian official.
Well, the same Democrats, I mean, they love communists. They love the Russians. And so if you're going to have this investigation, we need to have an investigation of both parties, you know.
Well, that's what I said.
That liberals, they only want to investigate one side of this situation. So, yeah, you're right. It's evolving. It's evolving, and we see this evolving that they're trying to do is getting cool.
Well, you
to the point.
Yeah, you feel, as I do, that there is a one-sided investigation. Now, I don't know if that is, I mean, because what they have said is that they started out with the investigation to find out whether or not there was interference in the election by the Russians. Yeah. Then it went to whether or not there was collusion on the part of Trump people with the Russians. Yeah. Now we are going to go into an area that says that the president was
each time they go all these different ways, they run into a roadblock. Matter of fact, whenever they run into a roadblock and find nothing, but we find out more about what the Democrats had their fingerprints on.
Exactly.
And then I noticed
but there's no investigation to them.
No, because Loretta Lynch should have been brought up. What's her name? Should have been brought up. The unmasking by, what's her name again? It just escaped me right now.
Yeah.
Who was doing the unmasking?
Susan Rice.
Susan Rice. Yeah. So I noticed that none of these, and Susan Rice said, well, I'm not going up. I didn't get a bipartisan letter, so I refused to even go up.
Now, what happens when someone in the Trump administration says, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to testify. I don't want to talk about it. First thing they say is you're trying to hide something, and now you're obstructing justice. This is how we got where we are, and now we got an investigation going on trying to impeach the president. Trying to gather evidence that would lead to an impeachment, because that's all they really want to be able to do is to keep him tied down with this investigation, so he can't get the support from the people. So that's why I said that the people that supported and elected Donald Trump are the people that have to put the pressure on the Republicans. We are going to go to a break, and if you'd like to join in this conversation, that number is 734-822-1600, and we'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable with your hosts, Del and Phil. They're exposing the left's underground resistance while leading the charge in the fight for liberty. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored. Don't be afraid to be right. Celebrate life. The opening statement is not a cliche because the master plan of God is life, and the center of the plan is man and woman, family and humanity. Ever since my announcement about the need to make June National Heterosexual Recognition and Appreciation Month, several people have inquired about what they can do to make the event a success. Realize that national support for such an event is a monumental task beyond the dimensions of just a few. I have put forth 3 outreach plans to assist people who sincerely want to support and promote the sanctity of life. 1, on a personal basis, utilize your communication network by calling or contacting people you know, be they family, friends, neighbors, or anyone who share the same value for life that you do, and request that they join the celebration of life. Word of mouth can do wonders. 2, contact your elected representatives on the local, state, and national levels and request their support and public endorsement of National Heterosexual Recognition and Appreciation Month. 3, if you use email or any of the other social mediums of communication, do a mass information blitz to people in your database or on your mailing list and inform them about the national effort to recognize and appreciate the heterosexual process of human procreation. During the month of June, we who believe in the immanence of God can express and extol the blessings and virtues of his master plan with public acclamations that honor the fact that God did not make a mistake. He got it right when he created man and woman to be a compatible union of one, inseparable and dependent on each other. God ordained heterosexuals to bring forth the glorious gift of human life more abundantly and implement the divine order of marriage between one man and woman, and the irreplaceable benefits of fatherhood and motherhood and positive family values. The merits of this event is not a put down but a step up in recognition of the fact that without human life, nothing else matters. So let's have the courage to unite and make June National Heterosexual Recognition and Appreciation Month. And don't be afraid to celebrate life because it is right. I am Milt, Logically Speaking Uncensored, saying, think about it, and to God be the glory.
And thanks a lot, Milt, for another sterling, just great commentary, and we are very fortunate to have Milt send those over. Now, what I'd like to get to right quick is some of the opposition to Donald Trump. To me, is bordering on like I said, on treason. But look at the supposed leaders in the Senate, like Elizabeth Warren. Some of this kind of rhetoric, in my estimation, is a part of the problem, and they continually try to tie Republicans to each and every bad behavior that's exhibited by anybody for any reason. They try to tie the political leaders of the country with that, like Donald Trump, like Mitch McConnell, like Frank Ryan, not Frank, Paul Ryan. But this stuff here, I have never heard any Republican say some of the things that people like Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Madonna. Speaking of Madonna, Derek, could you put Madonna on there real quick?
It took this horrific moment of darkness to wake us the f*** up.
Whoa.
It seems as though we had all slipped into a false sense of comfort, that justice would prevail and that good would win.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. She talking about good would win. So she's saying that slaughtering babies is good.
Yeah.
She's saying that manipulating, because Donna is the leader of all the filth. She's a leader of filth.
Yeah.
She's the queen. She's the prince of darkness. So she's saying that the election of the president has led us into this dark time.
Yes.
And she is the queen of darkness. Mm-hmm. So she's saying that now that we are the people of light. Okay, so go ahead. You can continue, Derek.
Well, good did not win this election, but good will win in the end. There is power in our unity, and that no opposing force stands a chance in the face of true solidarity. And to our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything, f*** you.
Okay, you see, these are the people that have influence. Now, let me tell you about one little thing. This lady, what's her name again?
Reality. Reality winner right here.
Yeah. What did she say? She said that she would like to burn down the White House and find a little spot over in, what, Uzbekistan somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is very similar to the kind of logic and the kind of thinking that Madonna has just laid out for us. Because later on in that tape, she says she had thought about blowing up the White House.
That's right.
And so what I'm saying to you is, once these type of things get out there, it's just accepted that people like Donald Trump that are Republican automatically are the worst examples of political figures. I mean, they want to starve babies, they want to kill babies, they want to put old folks out of the nursing homes and put them on the streets and starve them to death. These are the kind of attitudes that people have and say things that reinforce it to people, like the guy that shot up.
Well, those are liberal talking points.
Yeah.
And liberals believe that those talking points are going to help them win elections.
And if you don't believe it?
And it has not helped them, and the result of it has not helped them win anything at all.
And if you don't believe it, how about what Hillary Clinton just got through saying? She'd come back into the spotlight. It says here that Hillary Clinton didn't miss a word Friday when it came to the Senate Republicans' newly unveiled health care legislation. She said, forget death panels. If Republicans pass this bill, they're the party of death. Now, wait a minute. Now, let's, again, like what you just said it, I mean, you know what they embrace. You know, you just said it. I mean, they embrace every abortion that can be made. They want to have it. So let's go even further here. Elizabeth Warren took to the Senate floor on Thursday, lambasting the GOP for its continued attacks on a health care organization that millions of Americans depend on, Planned Parenthood. I gotta go to the lines. We're gonna go to line one. Joe from Wyandotte. Good morning. How are you? Hope you're not as frustrated as I am.
Finally up early enough on a Saturday morning to tune in.
Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you very much, Joe.
I'm normally very still sound asleep at this time. So I hope to participate on your show and then talk about the Red Wings on Derek's show if he's going to discuss the draft. But I wanted to go back to what you were saying about collusion. We know of some actual collusion.
Yes.
And that was after Bill Clinton gave a speech in Russia, paid speech, and certain millionaires in Russia gave to the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative, and then all of a sudden Hillary Clinton ran through the State Department 20% of our uranium reserves to be given to the Russians.
Yes.
Where's the investigations on that potential treason of giving uranium to our enemies?
Yeah, and let's not forget how he locked up all of that low sulfur coal out in Utah and allowed the Indonesian government to corner the market on low sulfur coal and put our coal workers out of business here in the United States. And that is collusion on a large scale. Russians, Indonesians, and let's not even forget about the other administration, the Obama administration, colluding with the Iranians to.
Yep, exactly, that too. And if they want to continue to talk about obstruction, clear obstruction, we know happened with Loretta Lynch, with Comey obstructing the email investigation and telling him to call it a matter and not an investigation. And Comey, of course, then laid out a long laundry list of things that knowingly we know for certain they could prove beyond a shadow of a doubt she was guilty of crimes in relation to the email scandal, but yet they let her skate.
Yeah, and so what I'm trying to find out is, we know that that the Comey and Mueller duo has colluded together to put Scooter Libby, in jail for lying to a FBI agent, right?
Which had nothing to do with that initial investigation either.
So how is it that the Democrat leaning FBI directors investigating these different things always end up getting the Republican target or ancillary target? He's not the real target, but they get somebody. And you've heard Comey say about how they put pressure on people to flip them to testify for them. Now, some of this stuff is illegal. Now, we know that you can be charged with lying to an FBI agent, but an FBI agent can lie to you and there's nothing said about it. So it must mean that the FBI agents are above the law. Does that make sense to you?
No.
Yeah. So here,
it's not supposed to work that way, but you are absolutely right.
Well, it says, we're a nation of laws.
An officer is not above the law. Mm-hmm. They cannot lie. They cannot attempt to entrap via lies, but yet they do it.
Yeah, and how are they allowed to get away with that? But it always seems to affect the Republican side. And never look at all the investigations that we had on Lois Lerner, the FBI, IRS, the NSA, all of these the Army, the VA hospital, all of the alphabet organizations had investigations done during the Obama administration. And the people that were brought before the committees talked to the investigators and the questioners like they were children. Lois Lerner just made me so angry. I could not understand how she was able to just get up there and lie and tell these people anything, and and nothing happened. But
yep, that's yet another one of the many scandals where clearly laws were broken. They did not follow the law, or they were clearly targeting people. And I don't know what law that would violate, but
ethics laws and nothing else.
There you go. There you go. The ethics laws, if nothing else. You are absolutely right. I mean, and they have sworn oath, and if they're not violation of laws, they are in violation of IRS regulations to be fair and impartial.
Yeah.
And so, if nothing else, be fired and for it.
So what do we do about this? Do you have any suggestions? The only thing I could suggest is we need to examine our leaders, because they are the ones that are in charge, and they are allowing this to happen, and they are allowing great harm to be done to the Republican brand, because they continue to paint the Republicans as being hateful to minorities, dangerous to seniors, and absolutely just the worst to homosexuals.
Yeah,
so
we're going to continue down this road of endless investigation of Trump administration folks for supposed collusion and obstruction, where we all know there is absolutely zero evidence of it. We need to insist our leaders stop cowering and saying, well, we just want to move on. No, we want the email investigation reopened up and a grand jury impaneled to look into that and charges brought. We want an investigation into Lynch. We want to open up an investigation regarding Eric Holder and Fast and Furious still.
Yeah, where Eric Holder was...
have not passed statutes of limitations, and we must hold them accountable. We are supposedly the rule of law party. It's about damn time we should show it.
Well, I'm with you. I just I made the suggestion in that the American people have to demand that our leaders, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, they're the ones that are heading up these legislative bodies. We have got to make them accountable to us.
They seem to think they can just go along to get along, and somehow that'll garner them some favor from Democrats. It never will.
No.
Do your job.
Now, would you...
They will always try to bury us. It's time we treat them like the enemy of the state that the Democrat Party truly is, and lock up as many of them as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Would it appear to you, as it appears to me, that there is collusion between the Republican Party and the Democrats?
Several of them, yeah, no doubt. Certain rhinos have always colluded with the Democrats because they're liberal Republicans. They're Democrat light. They're only Republican because they live in a Republican district. It's the only way they can get elected. Otherwise, they would be declared Democrat.
And we see them get smoked out every so often, like Susan Collins, like Murkowski of Alaska. We seen how she was smoked out?
Yeah,
you know, we need
Senator
to smoke these people.
Songbird McCain.
Yeah, John McCain, and let's not forget Lindsey Graham. you know, so we've got some work to do. It's within the Republican Party. That's the only thing I can tell you, and I think that we need to rise up. And you know what? I got one suggestion. See how you think about this. Why don't we appoint? Why don't the leadership of the Republican Party appoint a shadow prosecutor / investigator / well, anyway, and give him the funding and the power, like the same investigative powers as the sitting Mueller.
Absolutely. We absolutely must have
and
that.
appoint somebody like Rudy Giuliani. Or
there you go, Rudy Giuliani.
Chris Christie. Or how about Jeanine Pirro?
Pam Bondi, Florida.
Yeah. Jeanine Pirro, to me, would be a very formidable prosecutor / investigator. So, or counselor, / counselor. That's what they keep saying, impartial. They're not impartial. Joe, thanks for getting up with us this morning. We appreciate it.
I was glad I was able to do that, and take care of my friends. I love you guys.
Okay, right, thanks a lot. Hey, we're going to go to line 2. And that is, I have a little problem here with, there we go. Who's on line 2? Who's on first? Ed. Is that Ed? Yeah, Ed from Ypsilanti. Sorry about that.
Hey, it's Ed. Pick me. It's Ed. Line 2. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. As is my habit to follow Joe's phone calls on radio shows.
Oh yeah.
I just found that the investigation, the FBI investigation of Bernie Sanders and his wife over the embezzlement from Burlington University, that's still an open FBI investigation.
Yeah. Yes.
Wouldn't that be special?
Yeah. And they always talk about how the Republicans are such money grabbers, and how they always seem to get caught up in the graft and a little bit of underhanded stuff,
Oh, I forget what it is that Bernie drives, but it's an exotic sports car.
It is. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Didn't he just buy a big mansion?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said, didn't Bernie just buy a big mansion too?
Oh, yeah, the socialist. Yep,
Yeah.
Some pigs are equal, all pigs are equal. Some pigs are more equal than others. So, that was Animal Farm, right?
Yeah.
So, the thing is that now it's up to the Trump administration and Jeff Sessions to figure out whether they're going to follow through with this investigation and press charges against Bernie and his wife. It'd be interesting to see what decision they make.
Well, somehow or another, I believe that it'll get swept up under the they'll come up with some investigator that they'll say is like Comey and like Mueller, that they're impartial and they are Boy Scouts and all of that, and this thing will be swept up under the rug.
Well, they didn't have an intent to take all those millions. You guys have a blessed day.
Well, thanks a lot for your call. And this, and if anybody has any doubt about whether or not there is a concerted effort on the part of people in government and people that are living off of government, like Bernie Sanders and a bunch of other people, they want to use the government to fund other activities and then they use their access to the wealth unfettered by government and the government taxing thing. They find ways to protect their wealth, and you and me carry the burden. And so Donald Trump, if one thing he has said that he would like to do something to interrupt that cozy relationship between government and Democrat Party, and how they always seem to extract the wealth out of the government where nobody else is able to. So we are going to, Adele, you want to give a quick...
Yeah, I just wanted to just let the people know, go to our website at artofmichigan.com. We can use your support.
WAAM TALK1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.